How's it going, everybody? Sandwhichpants here today, and I'm going to be giving you my top 10 best exotic list for the Warlock in Forsaken so far. Now, I do want to start this off by saying that my list is probably going to be different than some of your all's, and that I don't have two of the exotics that made it onto this list, but I've seen reviews and gameplay with them enough to at least put them in a slot for now. They, in my opinion, these are worth the slot. They may raise, they may lower when I get them and test them out. But for now, they're at the spot that they are. And I wanted to go ahead and start this off starting from the bottom and work my way up. And let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to give the honorary mention of number 11 to the Luna faction boots. And that's just because of the very specific requirements that are required for it to do its effect, and the fact that you don't get a rift super often. I mean, it's not a super long cooldown, and you can put mods into it, but it's kind of wasting slots, and you'll see why later on in the video. Anyways, what I wanted to give the number 1 slot, or the number 10 slot to, sorry, my bad, is Nezaric's Sin. Because its exotic perk, the Abyssal Extractors, makes it to where any void damage kills you get increase your ability energy recharge rate, and it can last up to 19 seconds if you continuously string together kills. I put it in the number 10 slot because it is amazing in PvE, and it is fairly decent in PvP, not enough to warrant it to be higher than number 10 in my opinion. But if you can string together those kills and get the perk to stay active, you'll get your abilities back in 16 seconds or less. So, that is why it is at the number 10 slot. And for the number 9 slot, I went ahead and put the Phoenix Protocol. And it is absolutely disgusting for PvE, and fairly good in PvP, because you don't have to get the kill while you're in your Well of Radiance. You can get the assist as well, so there's good reasons to use it, and the amount of energy you get back can be fairly crazy. Again, I don't personally have it, but from what I have seen from other reviews and such, it is a very solid exotic for the Well of Radiance. Yes, it's very specified to that subclass, but getting your super back at that kind of rate, for that super in particular, pretty solid. The next on my list are the Sun Bracers. Again, only in Dawnblade, but it's all of the Dawnblade subclasses instead of just the one. And what it does is it increases the duration of solar grenades. So yeah, there's two caveats. You have to be on Dawnblade, and you have to be using the solar grenade in particular. But it increases the duration of your solar grenade from about 3.5 seconds to about 7.5 to 8 total seconds. It's about double the time. So that's really solid in my opinion. On top of that, if you get a charged melee kill, you get 5 seconds where you can just throw grenades. So you can coat a battlefield in solar grenades if you're running, top or bottom tree, if you're running the Attunement of Sky or the Attunement of Grace. Or maybe not the Attunement of Grace. The bottom tree, Attunement of Flame or whatever it is. So, that's really good. But where it shines the most, in my opinion, is on the Well of Radiance. Because if you get that melee kill, you're probably hurting. You can use that first second and a half to overcharge a healing grenade, throw it in front of you, heal yourself and anybody on your team who happens to walk behind you, triggering the Benevolent Dawn perk. And then you just get abilities back faster. And after that, after you throw down your healing grenade, you can just start throwing 2 or 3 more solar grenades around the battlefield, and they'll sit there for about 8 seconds. It's really strong. If you manage to pull it off, you're going to feel like a monster. And even if you don't manage to get the melee kill and use the ability to its fullest, you've still been able to drop a healing grenade for you and your allies. And your solar grenade lasts longer as a general whole, so it has the neutral game aspect. Unlike the Phoenix Protocol, which is only about your super. But that makes it really, really strong in my opinion. Number 7 on the list is the Eye of Another World. Works on every subclass. It marks your targets. It marks any priority target, which means in Crucible specifically, it marks everybody. People who are at full health without a super just show up with a little red aura around them. People who are wounded show up with a darker red and slightly larger aura around them. And people with a super show up with a yellow aura around them, so you don't have to check the top of your screen. You just look at the person and know, yeah, they got a super. On top of that, it improves the regeneration speed of your grenade, melee, and rift abilities. And I did a review on this on my channel, so you can go and check that out if you want. But in short, it takes your rift down to about 45 seconds and takes about 25 seconds off your grenade cooldown. Pretty solid. Not god tier. But I put it on number 7 because it works literally everywhere, has amazing neutral game potential. For the number 6 slot, we have the Karnstein Armlets. In my opinion, these would have been higher before they changed it to this, and I mean, it's still really good, but I really enjoyed the increased mobility and resilience factor on every melee hit, along with every melee hit giving you a small chunk of your health back. So you could outlast people in melee duels. But what they do now is a melee kill instantly restores a slightly smaller portion of health than what they did before, but you get 9 seconds of continuous health regen at whatever your recovery is set to. So if I was going to use these, I would try and drop my resilience a bit and just keep my recovery in a 9 or a 10. That's just my personal opinion on that. I put them there because they work again on every subclass and they have really good neutral game aspects, but you have to be playing very aggressive, and so the potential of you suiciding is much higher, even though they can give you health back. In PvE, it's pretty much not that big a deal. You can pair it with literally any subclass and it'll work great. But in PvP, shotguns are a secondary now. You will probably get shotgun before you manage to pull this off on a regular basis. For the number 5 slot, I put Apotheosis Veil. Now this one might be somewhat controversial, but what it does do for you is absolutely insane. So it gives you immediate full health, full melee, full grenade, and full rift energy whenever you activate your super. So if you use it on, say, a top tree void walker and you're using an empowering rift, you have literally no way to heal yourself. But this makes it to where when you go, you can slide in, take a couple of shots from a pulse rifle or something as you go to cast your super. As soon as you activate your super, your health is full. All that damage that they just dealt to you, negate it. Then you have all your abilities, so that whenever you throw that super, you can land and, say, immediately drop an empowering rift with increased damage, so you can plug people from further away with your hand cannon, your trust, or whatever you're using. Pretty good there. But the real draw to it, outside of that, like the main reason I use this, is it increases the recharge rate of nearby allies' class abilities. Your hunter, who's got the Geminis on, he can dodge more often because he's sticking somewhat near you and getting that energy back faster. That frees up other players on your team's mod slots for super or grenade charges. I'm not necessarily looking at any of the melee charge ones. I don't think they're that good. Grenade charges are good because grenades are fairly strong and they're used at a distance. Super, because I mean, it's a super mod. It reduces the cooldown of your super. That's phenomenal. And so your team will benefit from this more than you will 9 times out of 10, honestly. But that's kind of the point of the Warlock at the moment, especially the Well of Radiance. They are a support subclass. You're not meant to go in there and get a whole bunch of big dick super kills and stuff like that. No. Your super doesn't kill. Like, I've gotten one kill with my super, and that's because somebody shot the guy I dropped it on in the face with a hand cannon, and then I dropped a sword into their back, and they died from the burn damage afterwards. You just do not kill people with the super. What you do use it for is to completely lock down a zone unless the opponent picks up heavy. If they've got power ammo, you do not use that super because they will just rocket you all and kill you out of your well of radiance. There's nothing you can do. It does not do the same job as a bubble, which will just absorb that rocket, laugh it off, and then that person will get shotgunned or team shot by everybody in the bubble. But it does give increased damage and increased health, essentially, with a ridiculous health regen. So outside of power ammo, or somebody getting really lucky with a shotgun and pumping you like 2 or 3 times, your team will tank pretty much anything that they can throw at you. I've taken 2 Spectral Blade swipes in the Well of Radiance. And wearing this helmet, I've taken the first hit as I'm casting the super, I take 2 more hits, and by that time, my team has beat the other person down with melees. This has happened in games, just organically. I don't queue with a teammate as often as it might seem. I kind of take certain gameplays with my cousin to upload them for fun. You know, I'm not always a solo player. But, yeah, Apotheosis Veil, pretty solid helmet. Put it at the number 5 slot for pretty good reasons, in my opinion. The number 4 slot, I put another exotic that I don't have, the Controverse Hold. I've seen it used, and this thing is absolutely insane. Honestly, do not pair it with Feed the Void. Devour Tree, don't touch that tree if you have this exotic on. Not worth it. You will not even make use of the secondary part of that perk. Now, yeah, in PvP, you resist, actually it's both sides I think, you resist 40% of incoming damage while you're charging the grenade, so you could be standing in the middle of a field in PvE having the boss shoot at you, and then you'll just start popping your Devour, and you'll take 40% less damage, heal yourself to full, and then promptly get hit by 2 or 3 attacks that boss has shot at you, and die. Not worth it. Instead, pair it with, in my opinion, the best one to pair it with, I know a lot of people will say that this is wrong, but I say Chaos Accelerant, top tree Voidwalker. Your Axiom Bolts produce 4. They will destroy. They deal a good chunk of damage, so all you really have to do is have a shot put into each person. Just pop, 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 pop. Overcharge the grenade and throw it when they step behind cover. That grenade will seek them out, it'll kill them. Vortex Grenade is the best one to use it on because for some reason, whenever you throw a Vortex Grenade, the individual damage numbers count as dealing damage in regards to the random amount of energy returned. That is really weird. It doesn't work with Axions, it doesn't work with Scatters. Don't know why. Scatters I figured would be the best ones, but through the testing that I've seen done, doesn't work. You only get the 1 damage trigger, and that's it. Same thing with the Axiom Bolts. But Vortex, it has the initial explosion, and then it has damage ticks over time, so I'm assuming that it has something to do with a duration, like an internal cooldown. But I don't know. I don't have them, but this is speculatively in the number 4 slot, in my opinion. In the number 3 slot, I put the Transverse of Steps. Very obvious reasons. Sprinting reloads your weapon. Unlike the Lunafactions, you don't have to have a rift. All you have to do is run for about 1.5 seconds. Your gun will reload. Buffs your sprint speed and gives you increased slide distance. Now, another thing that's kind of hidden in it is it doesn't say it has traction, but from what I've been testing, it still gives you the same turn radius whenever you've got them equipped as a pair of traction boots. So, I went ahead and put those at the number 3 slot. In the number 2 slot, the Ophidian Aspects. Really solid, don't really need to explain it, gives you better weapon handling, reload speed, really good at that, and it improves your melee range, which actually increases the consistency of your melee registration. So, using these, really good choice, you can't go wrong, works on all the subclasses. It's really good. You cannot go wrong if you are using the Ophidian Aspects. Now, the one that I went ahead and put in the number 1 slot but I put the Stag. Grants you Rift energy when you're critically wounded, and creates a full duration, full power healing Rift whenever you die. In PvP, especially in the competitive game modes where there's revives, instead of respawns, but if you have a revive token, this makes it easier on your team to walk up and revive you because they can step into a healing rift and negate and heal back some damage as they're trying to get shot at. They can drop a Titan wall there and just stay there with an overshield as they revive you. If somebody comes in to shotgun you, you're going to be healing from the healing rift as they do it. Works really well. In the granting Rift energy when critically wounded, it is 50% of your overall cooldown taken off, no matter where in the cooldown you are. You could be 75% done with your cooldown, you take that critical damage, you're going to have a full Rift. And 50%, you have a full Rift. 25% cooldown, you take the critical damage, you then have 75% of your Rift, and you just have to wait a little bit then, or heal naturally with your recovery, step back out, get critically wounded again. There have been rounds in competitive where I have dropped a healing rift near the end of the round, and then stepped into an enemy's grenade to get critically wounded to step back out into my own healing rift again to get healed, and I just repeat that process until the round ends and I've got a rift. Mostly because I pair this with the perk Dynamo on boots. You will get supers ridiculously fast, you will get rifts really fast, your damage will be increased. It is a great combination. Seriously, check out my video on that. Anyways, that was my list for the top 10 best exotics for the Warlock, in my opinion, currently. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, a comment. If you enjoy my content, go ahead and subscribe. And if you are subscribed, please hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified whenever I make a video and upload it. Anyways, this is Sandwhichpants, signing out.